Welcome to KiteFoil World Series, Gizzeria in the far south of Italy. We're on the final day of the competition. We've got 9 to 10 knots of wind. Some of the racing has already taken place. The sunshine is out. The crowds are on the beach. It's hot, hot, hot. Anyway, I'm feeling it. My name's Andy Rice. I'm from England, and that's why I'm feeling the heat. Mirko Babini, IKA president. You're from Sardinia. I'm guessing you're a little bit more used to this heat, 32 degrees.
Yeah, not really. The problem is once we are covered by the breeze, it's still warm for myself as well. So
it's pretty hot, and it's hot for the riders out there as well. We started this competition with 96 riders from 21 nations from 5 different continents, but we are about to bring you the action from the medal series, and that is all about the top 10 riders in the men and the top 10 riders in the women. And the wonderful thing about this format is that any one of the top 10 still has a very realistic chance of winning this title overall. The challenge for those that we're about to see in the semi-finals is they are going to have to sail really well throughout the day if they're going to beat the top 2 that have already gone through to the final in the men and the women. And we're going to be seeing the women compete in their semi-finals coming up in about 10 minutes' time for the first race. Mirko, how long has this format, the medal series, been running now, and how well proven is it?
yeah, we start just a few event before. Has been proven that is really exciting, and one of the main reasons is to have the top 10 because it's more realistic for the Olympic format. So to keep the consistency on the system that also we will run at the Olympics in Paris 2024. So having the top 10 challenging themselves the last day is going to be just awesome and really dynamic, I must say.
So let's just sum up what's happened so far in the women's competition. Now, Lauriane Nolot hasn't even won a coloured bib up until today, and now we find her in yellow. We'll see her later on this afternoon in the final. So Lauriane Nolot has got stronger and stronger throughout this competition. Very inconsistent to begin with. She's won at least 2 races, or 2 races on day 1, 2 races on day 2. But quite a few DNFs and UFDs, and any kind of letters on your score are generally a bad sign that you're not proving to be very consistent. But then she wins 2 races 2 days ago in the afternoon, and then she comes out of the blocks fast on Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon. She ends up winning 4 out of the 5 races on Saturday, and that launches her from outside of the top 3 straight into the yellow bib position. It means she's only got to win 1 more race today, and she becomes the queen of Gizzeria.
Yes, I must say that Lauriane, when you start on day 1 with a lot of mistake, and yeah, we remember that she scored 4, so a 4th position on the race 1, and then she scored a DNC, then a problem, and then you start with a lot of discard already played. Then it's really important to stay focused, and then what Lauriane Nolot, she did it. She started to be really focused on get the bullet. And once all the number of the races allowed her to discard the worst score, then she jumped today with the yellow bib. She was pretty happy to wear that.
Really impressive. I think maybe one of the things was that on the first 2 days, the port tack start was really important. Getting into the right-hand side of the race course was really important, and taking those risks on port tack for some was worthwhile. But of course, if you get it wrong on a port tack start with the lines that you have running from the rider up to the kite, what is it, 12 meters of line?
Yep.
So much possibility of tangle. So it's a really high-risk move. Yesterday, Saturday, we didn't need to see so much of the port tack starting because it was a more even race course. And I think once Lauriane Nolot has the opportunity to stretch her legs and go for straight line boat speed, she's very difficult to beat. She's about a knot through the water quicker than any of the rest. And that includes Daniela Moroz, the 5-time world champion, who up until about a month ago had gone unbeaten in all major competition for 6 years. Well, she is going to be wearing the blue bib. She is also clean through to the final, but the difference is she only carries 1 race win through to the final. You've got to get 3 race wins to secure this title. So Daniela Moroz has to win 2 races today. Lauriane Nolot only has to win 1. But we will come back to them later on, because first we need to look at who's in women's semi-final A. So we've got Katie Dabson from Great Britain. And that's Katie walking up to the stage earlier in our bib ceremony. That's on semi-final B. We've got Maddie Anderson. These are 2 sailors from Great Britain, just giving each other a nod. And that is Anneloes Lammerts from the Netherlands going up for semi-final A, and Leonie Meyer from Germany for semi-final B. So all those 4 that you've seen so far carry no race wins into the semi-final. They got to win a lot of races. Gal Zuckerman has just come up. She had an amazing day yesterday, came from 11th up to 5th. She has 1 race win to carry into this semi-final. And here we have Jessie Campman still putting her bib on. Jessie Campman from France. She is going to carry 1 race win into the semi-finals. Ellie Aldridge, she is in pole position in the semi-final. She was wearing the yellow bib earlier this week. She didn't have such a great day on Saturday, but she has 2 race wins to carry into semi-final A. And that means she's only got to win 1 of her races this afternoon to get through to the final. And the same is true of number 31, Poema Newland, who won KiteFoil World Series 2021. And is a really class act from France. So Ellie Aldridge, number 28, Poema Newland, number 31. They've only got to win 1 race each. So the further you go out from the middle of the stage, the more work you've got to do today. So numbers 56 and 30. And then on the far side, 78 and Maddie Anderson, 25. They have got to win 3 races to make their way through to the final. Now we have Daniela Moroz wearing the dark blue to say that she's in 2nd place going into the final later on this afternoon, the 5-time world champion. And Lauriane Nolot from France about to put on the yellow bib. She, in a straight line, is the absolute fastest out there, but of course there's so much more to any form of sailing, including kitefoil racing. It's not just about straight line speed, and Nolot has to sail a really smart game if she is going to beat Daniela Moroz. But Moroz, we know that she's invincible. She's not invincible anymore. She used to be, but she got a bronze in that's Daniela waving at our drone as we fly off over Hang Loose Beach. So there you have it. We are about 3 minutes away from the start of semi-final A, race 1. And we've got about 9 or 10 knots of breeze. We will talk about the boys later on this afternoon as well, because once we've got through the semi-finals for the women, we come on to the men's semi-finals, and if we've got time, we can maybe do that now. So let's go to the bib ceremony for the men as well if we've got time. So same format again for the boys. And this time in semi-final A, we've got Mario Calbucci from Italy in semi-final A. We've got Connor Bainbridge from Great Britain in semi-final B, number 15. Connor's had a difficult week by his high standards, but he still has a chance of winning in Gizzeria today. And then we got Bruno Lobo, number 33 from Brazil, and number 66, Florian Gruber, one of the veterans from Germany. Number 14, the reigning world champion, Théo de Ramicourt from France, had a really good day yesterday, won 2 races yesterday afternoon and was feeling really good. He said he had great speed, great balance, felt really in tune with his equipment. Axel Merzella, another great Frenchman, a former world champion, number 44, also the reigning KiteFoil World Series champion from 2021. And there we have Lorenzo Boschetti, number 38, and Riccardo Pianozzi, number 61. Now, Lorenzo should have been in the middle. So we'll see if Lorenzo works out that, because Lorenzo is actually, along with number 61, Riccardo Pianozzi, the two young Italians have 2 race wins to take into the final. Teo de Ramicourt and Axel Mazzella, the experienced veterans from France, have 1 race win. Thank you, Lorenzo. You're now in the correct place. So there you have it. The 2 Italians in the middle, the 2 French outside of them, and then Brazil, Germany, Italy, and Great Britain represented on the outside. Now here comes our blue bib wearer, Tony Vodisek from Slovenia, already into the final with 1 race win to carry through, and putting on the yellow bib. Here's the yellow bib of Dennis Taradin. So there you have it. That's who we're going to be seeing in the final. Let's get back to the water and pick up the action from the water.
Oh, fuck.
Right, we got 15 seconds. 15 seconds to the start. 10 seconds. Now, it's going to be much more of a speed race this time round. We've got 2 starting on port and 2 starting on starboard. And it's Gal Zuckerman who is leading out this side with the grey and orange Flymax. Gal Zuckerman, who had such a good day yesterday, really seemed to find a new gear for the Israeli 18-year-old. And going out with her is Ellie Aldridge from Great Britain. So those are the 2 port tax starters, Ellie Aldridge on the left and Gal Zuckerman on the right. And meanwhile, the other 2 who are out of picture is Annalise Lammertz and Katie Dabson from Great Britain. They have now tacked onto port as well. So everybody sailing in towards the right-hand side. Mirko, who do you like at the moment?
Looking from here directly, we can see that Gal Zuckerman and Ellie Aldridge, they were the first tacking, go straight to the top mark. Let's see, today with the short track, the current will have less effect, so they will be more focused on getting the right wind and the right angle to the top mark. It seems that Ellie Aldridge and Gal, they are really running shoulder to shoulder.
And I'm a little bit concerned for Gal Zuckerman. She doesn't seem able to hold the height of Ellie Aldridge, and Ellie Aldridge seems to be gaining advantage here. So Aldridge going very, very quickly, and remember that Ellie Aldridge only has to win this race, and that's the end of this semi-finals right there. So the other girls really need to make sure that Ellie Aldridge, the Great Britain rider, doesn't get away with this race win. Aldridge onto an early jibe, Zuckerman carrying on behind her, and then some way back is Lammertz from the Netherlands and Dabson from Great Britain. So all the fleet are going onto an early jibe onto port, back in towards the shore, back towards Gizzeria Beach, where the crowds are out on a Sunday afternoon, sunbathing, enjoying this spectacle.
Great speed for Ellie Aldridge, I must say. On this kind of breeze we saw already, also you remember in Torre Grande last year, Ellie, she's going really well on light wing, and look at the speed.
Ellie Aldridge was telling me earlier this week that she hasn't always rated her abilities in light winds, and she was really pleased with her performance in Gizzeria a couple of days ago to really be showing world-class speed in light air. She's always tended to prefer the stronger winds, but right now it's Ellie Aldridge who is leading in these 9 to 10 knot breezes. So as Mirko was just saying, incredible speeds considering that the wind speed that they've got to work with is only 9 or 10 knots, but they're doing about 20 knots of speed upwind and 25, 26.
26. She hit 27.
Right, and so Aldridge went round the mark and did a very early tack towards the shore. and she is going exactly where she wants to go. And the rest are forced to follow, really, because they all seem to feel that going in towards the shore is the place to be, which is playing into the hands of Aldridge. No one is really attacking Aldridge from the far side. On the pack of three that you see on the right, it's Zuckerman, lowest of the screen with the light grey kite. She is still in second place, and Lammets is just to leeward of her, and then furthest to leeward, or highest up your screen, closest to the shore, is Dabson. But this is Aldridge going into what could be her final tack of this semi-final. If things stay the way they are, this semi-final A is done and dusted extremely quickly, because it's Aldridge who only needs to win this race to book her spot in the final later on this afternoon. And
yes, it seems that she has quite a good lead. If she doesn't make any mistake, she can score it. She will be more than happy to sit on the final.
She's making it look very easy. She's still got to execute the bear away. She's going to go for an early jibe, I suspect, and try and protect that side down by the shore. And Aldridge does go for the early jibe. So she's only got 2 more jibes in this race, potentially, and then she is clean home, and she has taken the 3rd spot in the semi-final behind Lauriane Nelot and Daniela Moroz, who are already through to the final. So Zuckerman chasing hard on the left, but time is running out for the 18-year-old Israeli to close the gap on the British sailor, who is only a minute away from taking her spot in the final.
Yeah, she will need another 2 jibe, because we have to remember the course.
That's jibe number 1 completed, so only 1 more jibe now, correct? There's just 1 more jibe around the next mark, is that correct?
Yes, exactly, and then all the way to the finish line.
So, if anything, Aldridge has stretched the gap, and meanwhile Zuckerman is being drawn in by the other 2. So there's still a real fight for 2nd, 3rd and 4th, but none of that really matters. The only thing that matters is if they could possibly get past Ellie Aldridge. Aldridge now has to go into the big 180-degree turn around this final mark.
Ooh.
Mirko, you had some concern there for the jibe?
Yeah, she took a really wide angle jibe, just not to make any hard pushing on the jibe. She was quite slow down, but to make sure not to fall in the water.
And here comes Ellie Aldridge with the yellow helmet, just about to book her place in the final.
We can say she deserved it. She wore 1 day yellow bib as well during the week.
She did, yeah. She's had a very good week, and now she's built some momentum. The other 2 that are already in the final, well, they're not getting the benefit of this experience on the racetrack yet. Gal Zuckerman, 2nd across the line. Then it was Dabson, and then Lammets. So well done to Ellie Aldridge, already through, and that's Aldridge stepping ashore now. And how happy does she look, talking to British coach Johnny Hutchcroft. So the next start is just a couple of minutes away. This is how quickly things turn around. And we're going to be getting into semi-final B for the women. And can Poema Newland replicate what we've just seen Ellie Aldridge do? Poema Newland being the French rider that if she wins the first race of semi-final B, well, that will be over in the blink of an eye as well. Jessie Campman, just behind her, another French rider. She has 1 race win. She needs to win 2 heats this afternoon, and then needing to win 3 are the German rider Leonie Meyer and the British rider Maddie Anderson. So Poema Newland, very, very good rider. She is the overall champion from KiteFoil World Series 2021. Things have tightened up in the game of kitefoiling. Everything is moving on so quickly that Newland is not as dominant as she was in 2021, but she's still very much in the top 5 riders in women's kiteboarding right now. So she knows how easy it is if you win this first race, but she also knows how difficult it is to guarantee anything in the dramatic world of kitefoiling. Just 1 minute 30 to go. Mirko, what do you reckon in terms of approach to the start line? Would you be going for starboard or port tack?
Yeah, you know, here is really short legs, so the short legs, one tack more or less can make some difference in terms of space. So let's say talking about 30 to 25, 30, 35 meters difference. So one tack less for sure is going to be a benefit, a plus, but also the other two, because then the air that you get in your kite is not 100% clean. So you need to understand, it seems that all of them, they will go on port. That it might be a good choice for all of them.
Based on the fact that Aldridge and Zuckerman were first and second in the race just then, they were the two port tack starters. It's maybe not that much of a surprise to see that we see all four lining up this time round on port tack. And you see the 4 fly surfer kites flying high in the sky with 10 seconds to go. And just trying to manage that time on distance. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time to accelerate. And off they go. Maddie Anderson, Jessie Catman, Leonie Meyer and Poema Newland. It's a clean start. And furthest to windward is Anderson. Then it's Newland. Then Leonie Meyer. And then furthest to the left is Jessie Catman.
Amazing, they have all the same kite and size, it seems.
Yes, it's a commentator's nightmare, isn't it?
Yes.
But it's very good for fly surfer. So Poema Newland, she is furthest left of the group. Oh no, sorry, that's Jessie Catman. Jessie, and then of the group of 3, it's Poema Newland, and there you have it. So still a very even fight. It's Maddie Anderson who is in danger of falling off the back of this group. We got a barking match going on down here on the beach between some dogs who obviously are very agitated about the competition. I hope you can't hear them too much through the microphone. Now everyone is on to starboard. And Maddie Anderson falling off the back of the group to some extent.
Poema, she's in the front.
Poema is in the lead. So Poema Newland, like Ellie Aldridge, she only needs to win 1 race and then she's through to the final. So could we see a repeat of what Ellie Aldridge just achieved? Newland going fast and just about to round the mark. Whoa, it's been a big splashdown for one of the riders, and it looks like Maddie Anderson's going to come through. No, maybe it's Leonie Meyer. That could have been Maddie Anderson that had the splashdown. Yep. But the important thing is for Poema Newland is she's got very clean water between her and the rest now.
All of them, they were so close, and it play on the benefit of Poema because they were so tight to get the mark, and then a splash of Maddie, the other 2 were slowed down a little bit, which it played perfect for Poema.
It really did, didn't it, Mirko? Poema Newland, if life wasn't going well enough for her already, she's now got a lead of more than 100 meters over her competition. And Maddie Anderson is back up and running, so the battle for the minor placings is still going on, but none of that matters. What they need to do, these 3, is at least get one of them in front of Poema Newland, because that's the only way we're going to keep this competition open. Now, it does look like Leonie Meyer and Jessie Campman, from coming further out to sea, might have closed the gap on Newland. So that shows that maybe there are other ways down this racetrack than just aiming for the shore all the time. But look at the gap. It's still well over 50 meters. Poema Newland able to choose where she tacks, as she does on the left of our screen right now, and the next rider round, Jessie Campman, going for an early tack in towards the shore.
Yeah, which Poema, she did the right thing, just round the mark and go straight to the on port, closer to the beach. She know that she has to cover the other one, so she just went a little bit upper to stay and to have a better look also to the other girl on the heat.
Yeah, it was good.
Pretty safe now.
Good tactical positioning.
Yeah, exactly. She know that she's just one tack away to get for the last time the top mark and ensure her spot. But you never know. On the fastest classes like the KiteFoil World Series, if you make a mistake, you lose 50 meters straight in a few seconds.
Yeah. Simultaneous tacks between Newland and Campman, the two French riders who were in first and second. And a problem on the right of our picture, I think that is Leonie Meyer that got some kind of problem. So Leonie Meyer drops further back. But in the lead, Poema Newland from France, going up towards the windward mark for the final time. She's only got one more run and one reach to stay in front, and then she books her place in the final later on this afternoon. So things going very well for Ellie Aldridge in semi-final A, and now in semi-final B, what we're watching now, Poema Newland looking in command, in control, doing 27 knots of speed downwind in about 9 or 10 knots of wind speed.
Yes, exactly. Now she's jibing, stay and take the closest part of the course. She want to come all the way down and take the mark from starboard and go straight to the last jibe. So Poema, we must say she deserved it. Yesterday she played quite well. She had not a really lucky moment on the last race, and the previous one as well. It was kind of tricky, but we know that she will make some hard life into the final.
Yeah, and it's quite possible for Poema Newland and Ellie Aldridge to continue this run of good form into the final, but they also know that what they're doing to their rivals in the semi-final, Lauriane Nalot has the potential to do that in the grand final later on this afternoon. So Newland's still a lot to do if she's going to win a medal later on this afternoon, but at the moment she's doing everything right as she's on the final reach across towards the finish and looking very comfortable indeed. With Jessie Campman in second, Leonie Meyer in third, and
Maddie.
Sorry, Maddie Anderson in third, and Leonie Meyer in fourth. But here comes Poema Newland, just crossing the finish line now and booking that fourth spot in the final. Look how happy the French rider is after making it look so easy in semi-final B. So, Mirko, the old question that we always have is it better to have had the experience that Ellie Aldridge and Poema Newland have just had, or would you rather have the race wins? I think I know what you're going to say, but it's always worth asking that question from time to time. It's about the race wins, isn't it?
It's about the race wins. And then, you know what? Doing and winning the semi-final, they get overcharged themselves to go into the final because they know already some maybe tricky things in the course, but let's see later on.
Right, well, we will go to an ad. We'll be back to you soon. Right, so 1 minute 30 to the start of semi-final A for the men. Well, Mirko, we're flying through this competition right now. We've seen things wrapped up as quickly as they possibly could be in the two women's semi-finals. Now, Lorenzo Boschetti must be hoping that he can do the same thing going into semi-final A for the men. He's got to beat Mario Calbucci, his teammate from Italy. He's got to beat Bruno Lobo from Brazil, and maybe most of all, he's got to beat the reigning world champion, Teo de Ramacourt. Do you think Lorenzo can do it?
This kind of condition, for sure, that's it on Lorenzo Boschetti. Perfect condition, flat water, is going to be fine for him, but Teo de Ramacourt is not an easiest. I think it's not the easiest friends to have it into the semi-final. It's going to be, for sure, he will chase him, and it's going to be a great challenge between two of them. Then Bruno Lobo and Mario Calbucci. Maybe for Bruno Lobo, let's see. Is there because a lot of consistency during the week. About Mario Calbucci, we know doesn't have nothing to lose. He will push as hard as he can, for sure. Now, almost 15 seconds to go, and also all of them, they are in port. So they just look between all each other, and also all the girl, they all decided to start on port and go straight into only one tack.
So one of them going for a starboard tack.
One is on starboard, yes.
And 3 on port. So we will try and identify who is who in a moment.
Teo is the only one on starboard.
Wow. So Teo really throwing everything at an alternative strategy now. And that is extremely surprising. But if anyone can make it work, then surely it would be Teo. And how are things looking on the far side? We've got the two Italians, Boschetti and Calbucci, along with Brazil's Lobo going out towards the right-hand side. So the benefit for Teo going out into the middle by himself is he can put his board and his kite wherever he wants. He's got clear air. Let's see how much that helps him as they converge at the top again.
Yeah, now Teo just decided to do exactly the opposite on everyone else. Went all the way higher on the left side of the course, hit the ley line, and now is approaching the top mark on port.
So here's the moment of truth for Teo de Ramacourt. Is he on collision course? Is he ahead? He'll be hoping that he comes in ahead, but it looks like the gamble has worked out extremely badly for Teo de Ramacourt. It looks like he's not going to... Well, it looks a lot better from that angle, I have to admit. Is Teo de Ramacourt going to find the space to go in there? That's the question.
No. Okay, doesn't pay.
So now he's relying on one of the others to be able to keep...
So Bruno Lobo and Lorenzo Boschetti, first and second.
And Calbucci with the red kite.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so on the right, we have Lorenzo Boschetti.
Yes, and Bruno Lobo.
And Bruno Lobo on the left. So Bruno Lobo is the one that is keeping the dreams alive for the others. Can Bruno Lobo attack Lorenzo Boschetti? Lorenzo Boschetti looking very fast, but Bruno Lobo looking a little bit lower, going a little bit deeper. But as we see Boschetti get onto starboard, Bruno Lobo, if he can execute a really good jibe, will he be able to get onto the air of Boschetti? It doesn't look like it. So Lobo hasn't quite got his kite settled down yet. The 23 square meter fly surfer of Boschetti carrying him nicely towards the bottom mark. And Boschetti going round in the lead. Are we going to see another straightforward semi-final play out just as we did with the women? Boschetti already onto his first tack and onto port tack back towards the shore. Teo de Ramacourt has shown to himself and to his 3 rivals that going out to sea wasn't a particularly great option. So
yeah, Lorenzo did the right choice. He doesn't get Teo's tactics because you have a world champion goes on the other side. You have to strongly believe in yourself. No, I want to go to the right. I want to keep the right. And then you have the world champion. Let's go to the opposite side. He was really chasing him, taking him away, and so
it's a really surprising move by de Ramacour. I mean, that really was a gamble. There was nothing to suggest from the women's racing that going out to sea was a strong option. So I'm quite surprised. And Lorenzo Boschetti, he's on to starboard tack. He's on his final approach to the windward mark for the final time. And Boschetti very much in control of the semi-final A for the men, just as we've seen the two women's semi-finals wrapped up extremely quickly in one race. It looks like Boschetti is on track to do the same.
Yes, exactly. And also surprising that Bruno Lobo is really stay in front of Mario Calbucci and Theo de Ramacourt.
The Brazilian's the only one that's really threatened Boschetti in this race. But now Bruno Lobo, Calbucci and Theo de Ramacourt, they're a long way behind the leader, who's now jibed onto port.
Now it seems that Theo de Ramacourt is got in second, looking on the helmet's color.
So maybe Theo up to second. But look at that straight stance that Boschetti has. He looks very upright the way that he...
Yeah, he has a long leg,
right.
And he keep the length super straight, like Benoit Gomez, another rider which is super fast on this condition. So they have kind of specific techniques on pushing a lot on their hydrofoil behind their foot.
The different stances are so varied, aren't they? Theo de Ramacourt always very much hunched over and leaned over, but very upright for Boschetti, who comes down to the bottom of the course and will now go on the starboard reach over to the jibe mark, over to the slalom mark. And this is going to be the third semi-final in a row where it is all wrapped up in the first race.
Last jibe.
And last chance.
Also amazing. You can notice how all of them, Heli and Poem as well, last jibe inside of the comfort zone, I must say. Super smooth jibe.
Looking pretty relaxed now. The others have closed up on Boschetti, but it's not going to be enough. Boschetti taking it easy, not too worried that the rest are closing up on him, because Boschetti has now crossed the line. Look how happy he is.
And then Bruno Lobo in second, Mario Calbucci and Theo de Ramacourt. Amazing, amazing semi-final.
Who would have thought Theo de Ramacourt would be last across the line? Okay, we'll go to an ad. We'll be back to you soon. So we've got the semi-final B yet to go. Now, Mirko, this is not going to plan, is it? The whole point of having the semi-finals is to give people an opportunity further down the order to actually beat somebody else. But there we see that Lorenzo Boschetti has got his 3 race wins, that he already carried 2 through from his qualifying scores. So Boschetti books his place in the final. Theo de Ramacourt finishes second of that group, with Bruno Lobo and Mario Calbucci bringing up the rear. Theo de Ramacourt, I think, for anybody that was wondering about trying an alternative strategy, he's put that idea to bed. The only option, as far as we can see, Mirko, is to go for the shore.
Yes, exactly. Like the previous day, having one tack only and goes on port straight to shore and then hit the ley line to the top mark, that is the way to go. So they have to mainly concern on their speed and pushing on the foot and keep the VMG as fast as they can.
1 minute 30 to go. And this time it's Riccardo Pianozzi, who will have seen the previous semi-finals and must be thinking, is this my opportunity to make it a perfect four? Can he also win his first race of semi-final B and just put the whole thing to bed and book his place in the final? The three that are looking to stop the Italian do that are Axel Mazzella, the reigning champion in KiteFoil World Series from 2021, Florian Gruber from Germany, and Connor Bainbridge from Great Britain. Now, Bainbridge has not been feeling good about his speed this week, and this is very much about speed when you've only got 4 on the racetrack. But I wonder what Connor will be thinking. He knows he's going to have to really push this to have a chance of going through.
Yeah, within the 4, I guess that Connor is the one that will try to maybe invent something to gain some place. But again, with Riccardo Pianozzi and Axel Mazzella and Florian Gruber, we have to remember that sometime Florian Gruber, he can really make some move to get into the front. So it seems that all 4 of them, they're going to be on port.
And coming in fast on the left-hand side is Riccardo Pianozzi. So he's coming into leeward of the rest of the group, and Pianozzi looks like he's got a really good shot of speed out of the line, and that's an early advantage to Pianozzi. Clear start, so we've got a really good race here with 4 world-class riders, all very capable of winning races. We've seen it made look so easy in the previous 3 semi-finals. Pianozzi has given himself a great chance with a good start, but Mazzella is coming on strong now.
Yes, we have to wait until they hit the lane line, going closest to the top mark to really understand who is leading. They're still really close to all each other.
So Mazzella with a small advantage, still very even between them. Mazzella.
They tack all at the same time.
Incredible. Oh, bit of a splash there. And Bainbridge struggling to stay in touch. Mazzella on the left, looking the strongest. He's got more ley line to play with. The others might be squeezing to try and get up there, and that's going to play into the hands of Mazzella on the left-hand side.
Yeah, better air, better wind is in the top, is windward to the other, and then with this light air, it will affect.
So Mazzella coming in, just about to go round the windward mark, and the next 3 bunch very close together, with Florian Gruber marginally ahead of Pianozzi and Bainbridge just behind. So for the first time, we have somebody, Mazzella, who he's not on match point yet. So Mazzella, he's on 1 race win. He needs to win 2 races this afternoon to get through the final. And right now, the Frenchman is in a great position to go level pegging with Pianozzi, because Pianozzi is in a battle with the other 2, Florian Gruber and Connor Bainbridge.
Yeah, we can see Mazzella on a crazy, an amazing speed. Is the only one that sometimes is crossed 30 knots on 9 knots of breeze. So now Pianozzi went all the way close to the shore. Is the second that jibe just straight behind Gruber. So now Gruber is almost blocking Pianozzi's pace. And this is play on favor of Axel Mazzella.
Mazzella now round the mark. Florian Gruber ahead of Pianozzi, who immediately tacks onto port. And at the same time as Pianozzi tacks onto port, so does Mazzella. So Mazzella in a good covering position there. Florian Gruber has now tacked. And Connor Bainbridge, well, he's out of this race now. He's still to round the leeward mark. So the British rider is out of this competition. As things stand at the moment, he's got a lot to do, but Mazzella looks like he's going to keep semi-final B open for another round because it's Mazzella in the lead and Pianozzi, who is the one on 2 race wins, has still got some catching up to do on the Frenchman.
Yes, exactly. And this is why Pianozzi went into an early attack just to try to get the benefit on eating.
Pianozzi's tack. So Pianozzi was first to tack, but has he tacked too soon?
Yeah, this attack really soon to pushing a lot to get more angle and try to stay leeward to Florian Gruber because it's the only way. Try to at least go in front of Gruber, but it's not enough. It's not enough for him. You have to win and chase Axel.
Well, it is, but I mean that was a good move. It looks like Pianozzi has managed to get past Gruber, but the trouble is Gruber and Pianozzi are stuck in their own match race, and that's playing into the hands of Mazzella, who is stretching away again. Look at Mazzella go into a jibe fairly soon. Mazzella doing 31 knots, going really fast in these 10 knots of breeze, and Mazzella actually only now deciding to jibe. So that's fairly late compared with what we've seen on the other races. Meanwhile, on the far side, Pianozzi has done a much earlier jibe, while Gruber is following Mazzella's line further out to sea. So Pianozzi on the attack from the far side. But the gap was quite big. Pianozzi going back into a jibe, top left of your picture. But Axel Mazzella on a really good line on port jibe. He's going really low and fast there as he goes into his jibe. Now, it looks like Pianozzi has pulled ahead of Florian Gruber, but Pianozzi going fast, he still is relying on Axel Mazzella making a mistake. Certainly the Italian has closed the gap, so he's starting to put the pressure on Mazzella.
One jibe to go.
Pianozzi going really fast. Will Mazzella, the former world champion and reigning KiteFoil World Series champion, be able to pull off this pressure jibe? Pianozzi goes round. Very tight jibe by Pianozzi, but Mazzella is off and away, and he's less than 30 seconds, probably only 15 seconds until... Whoa! Bit of a splash down there for Pianozzi. That's going to make life a little bit easier for Mazzella. He may not even know what happened just then. He's looking forwards, and he knows that he is going to bring the points square with Pianozzi. They're going to be on 2 race wins each. So if Mazzella or Pianozzi win the next race, that will book their spot in the semi-final. Pianozzi second across the line, Florian Gruber, and then a long way back, Conor Bainbridge. Conor Bainbridge with a lot to do, Florian Gruber with a lot to do if they are going to secure a spot in the final.
Yeah, I must say the experience of Axel Mazzella play well. So let's see what is going to happen next one. So we saw for the speed and the performance they have that Axel and Ricardo, they will be the 2 that they will book, because now they get into the next semi-final with the same score. So who is on the front is going to book the last spot into the final.
Well, we will find out very soon. We'll go to an ad and we'll be back to you shortly. That's true. Okay, that is the beach, Hang Loose Beach here in Gizzeria Lido in Calabria in the very south of Italy. It's about 32 degrees air temperature. Beautiful for swimming because I've been trying it every day myself, and absolutely amazing for kiteboarding. Green flag on the Finnish boat, the green and white flag being flown that means no protests, and we will be going in to the next round of semi-final B very shortly. Flo Gruber from Germany and Connor Bainbridge with a lot to do, yet to get a race win on the board. Meanwhile, Axel Mazzella winning that race has drawn level with 2 race wins, two semi-final points to go with Riccardo Pianosi's 2 semi-final points. And as you, 3.5 minutes to the next start, and Mirko, as you were saying, Mazzella and Pianosi will know that they're very similar on speed. It looked to me like Pianosi was closing the gap a little bit in the later stages.
Yeah, Pianosi pay off the starting. He was squeezing on between Florian Gruber and Axel, and so he had to slow down a little bit. At least he could not accelerate as he can. So he lose some space, then he tried to chase Axel, but then Florian Gruber make his life a little bit harder, and then he had to win the match first with Flo and then try to chase Axel, but the short track course doesn't really allow to catch up a lot in 6 to 7 minute target time.
No, and so much is riding on these starts, and it seems like everybody except Theodor Amakor is in agreement that starting on port is the way to go. It didn't work out for Theodor Amakor in the earlier semi-final to go out to sea, and that put the Frenchman to the back of his semi-final race. So I think we're going to be seeing everybody lining up on port from now on, unless there's a significant change in the wind. We've got 2 minutes to go, and it's about time on distance and positioning on the line, isn't it, Mirko? Mazzello did really well to do a late approach and come in with speed underneath the group of 3. And he was the fastest off the line, and he was the most leeward off the line, which put him in a strong position.
Yes, right. And then with a low number of rider, like we have on the semi-final 4, and then the starting line is really short, just enough for them. So time on distance is like almost sail GP. Did you see? The aim is to cross the starting line as the higher speed you can, just to gain any single meter on Mark 1, where you start to veer away. So again, time of distance, that's a challenge, mainly in that format on the semi-final instead of the fleet racing, where you have to manage to stay clear from trouble. Now it's about speed. So for someone which can be able to cross the starting line 1 or 2 knots faster than the other, it will gain some space.
50 seconds to the start, and here are our runners and riders for semi-final B. Connor Bainbridge, Great Britain; Florian Gruber, Germany; Riccardo Pianozzi, Italy; and Axel Mazzella, France. 35 seconds, and this is the slow race into the start, trying to judge their time on distance. You see the 4 kites all grouped together. 24 seconds to go. And still quite some way back. There's quite a lot of acceleration to do from here, but remember how fast these kites can go, about 22 knots upwind. So who will get their timing right as they come into the final 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, start. We'll find out if that was a clear start in a moment. Everybody on port tack.
So we have Pianozzi all the way down. That is Pianozzi, then Axel Mazzella, and Flo and Connor.
Okay, so Connor the most windward, and Pianozzi the most to leeward. And Pianozzi's in the spot that Mazzella was the previous race, and Mazzella's going to struggle to hold his line where Pianozzi is. So we've got our 2 leading contenders on the left-hand side, and we've got Gruber and Bainbridge on the right-hand side. But keep your eye on the 2 on the left, because that's where the important battle is going on, with Pianozzi on the furthest left and Mazzella just on his windward hip.
Ooh, look at the move of Axel.
So
they are squeezing Riccardo, because Riccardo, he went not for speed, he went for angle, and then at some point Axel just decided to go all the way leeward to accelerate, and They hit the lane line. Let's see Gruber gain more space then and more angle. Let's see what Axel, if he's going to pay off the Axel speed, staying a little bit windward to the other.
Look how much higher Axel Mazzella's speed is because he knows he's got ley line to play with. Will the others be able to make the windward mark from the angle that they are, or will Mazzella's higher angle of attack from the left-hand side of your screen, will that pay? We're going to have 4 riders go round neck and neck round this windward
That is
mark.
not going to be a comfortable spot for either Axel or Ricardo, because they are 2 on the left and they have to give space, room on the other one.
Whoa!
How they make it not to get tangled?
I have
Nobody
no
knows.
idea. I have no idea. That was Conor Bainbridge who went round in first, but he was very compromised. He only just made it. So Bainbridge now at the back, even though he was leading round the windward mark, because he just gave away so much speed just to get around the mark. And it looks like out of that mess, someone has splashed into the water. It could be Mazzella. So Mazzella, we think, is the one that has splashed down.
We don't see. Yeah, for sure there is one missing. From the tracking, it seems that it's Mazzella. Yeah, Mazzella still on the beer away when he went for a jibe.
So this is bad news for Mazzella, but also for Gruber and Bainbridge, because now out of that whole melee of the windward mark, it's Riccardo Pianozzi who emerges in the lead, and Riccardo Pianozzi is on match point for these semi-finals. Axel Mazzella was the most likely rider to be able to displace Pianozzi from the finals, but as things stand, the young Italian, the 16-year-old, is doing what he needs. He fought a great battle around that windward mark, and now he's got clear water between him and his rivals as he goes round the leeward mark. Halfway through this 6-minute race, and still close behind him is Florian Gruber and Conor Bainbridge. So can the German or the British rider overtake Pianozzi and keep the semi-final alive a little bit longer? Pianozzi, though, is looking too fast, isn't he?
He's really fast, but I can tell you, having Gruber just behind him, he doesn't have to make any mistake. Stay focused, and now, luckily for him, for Pianozzi, and not luckily for Axel, which is splashed into the water after the beer away on the top mark. You have to be focused and not to make mistake and go quick to the top mark, and yet to score the bullet.
Only now is Mazzella rounding the leeward mark, so you can't even see him in shot, but that's how far behind Axel Mazzella is now. It was an absolutely disastrous splashdown for him just after the windward mark. A simultaneous tack coming from Pianozzi and Conor Bainbridge, but the difference is Pianozzi is still 30 metres ahead of Conor Bainbridge. And he's been able to choose his ley line this time, the Italian. So provided he's got his judgment right, he should be on track to get round this windward mark in good shape, whilst Bainbridge and Gruber are still quite close together, chasing the 16-year-old Italian, trying to see if they can get back on terms with Pianozzi.
Yes, good rounding, for sure, comfortable than the one before, where all 4. I mean, I really would like to see that frame again.
I don't know how that worked.
Aligned. Yeah.
I don't know how they all managed to get round. Well, we saw Mazzella have a splashdown anyway, so it didn't work out too well for him. Pianozzi onto port jibe, now being followed by Bainbridge. Gruber carrying on a little bit further out to sea. Now Gruber jibes on the left-hand side, just trying a slightly alternative approach, see if he can get some better breeze further out to sea. Pianozzi in that hunched over position, but looking strong. How long's he been in kite foiling? He's still a relative newcomer, isn't he?
Yeah, since 3 years. He was coming from the freestyle part, twin tip. It was a really good, freestyler on the young age, and then he went just captured by the hydrofoil, the speed and the radicality.
Yeah.
You know, you're young, 14 years old, obvious. You love it or you hate it. There is no way on the middle.
Well, the 16-year-old is safely around the leeward mark for the final time. and Gruber and Bainbridge, the other two riders, just going around now, just a few seconds behind. But look at the distance. That's how fast these foilers are going. They're touching nearly 30 knots on these reaches to the finish. And Pianozzi on the final approach to the finish line. And barring disaster, he's about to book his place in the semi-final. And Mirko, that will please you because we will have two Italians in the four-rider final later on this afternoon.
Yes, exactly. Pretty stoked. They deserve it. Lorenzo Boschetti is currently sit on the world ranking on first spot. And then Riccardo is really on the top of it as well, on the top 5 on the world, and super young, super talented, super strong.
And he does the best landings back to the beach as well. I thought maybe we were going to get one then, but I love the way he can land on the beach and not even get his feet wet. It looks very, very cool, but it doesn't look like we're going to see that right now.
Not now, maybe after the final for sure.
So we've got Pianozzi, who has booked his spot in the men's final later on this afternoon. He is going to be going up against Lorenzo Boschetti, who won semi-final A in the men, and they will be joining two that we haven't seen so far today, Tony Vodisek from Slovenia and Denis Taradin from Cyprus, who have already booked their places in the four-rider final. And that's Riccardo Pianozzi celebrating with his team. And tell us who he's got around him in the team, Mirko. Oh, there's a protest.
There is a protest.
There's a protest flag flying.
Bravo flag. Yeah, it's a Bravo flag. Yeah.
No, we're okay. We're okay. It's not a protest. It's a Bravo flag to tell us that we're waiting. So that's okay. I was going to say, I suppose there could have been a protest that came out of that windward mark. I mean, there was so much confusion there. I wouldn't have a clue how you would clear up that kind of argument. All happened so quickly.
Yeah, I mean, happened so quickly, and we really need to maybe have a better look afterward on the tracking. What was the mistake from Axel Mazel, exactly where?
Okay. So we'll find out how long before the next start, and we will go to an ad, and we'll be back to you soon.
Meet the R1 V4, our highest performance Olympic and IKA registered racing machine.
Okay, so the green and white flag is flying on the committee boat, and we've only got around 3 minutes before the next start. That's how quickly things are moving along. So we're going to be getting into the women's final now. And let's just remind you of who we have lined up. We've already seen them book their places in the easiest way possible. Ellie Aldridge winning her semi-final in the first heat of semi-final A, and Poema Newland doing the same in semi-final B. But now they go to the bottom of the pile because with one championship point already is Daniela Moroz, and with 2 championship points is Lauriane Nolot from France. So it's Nolot who, if she can repeat the pattern that we've seen mostly in 3 out of 4 of the semi-finals, if she wins one race, that's game over. She has become queen of Gizzeria in just one 6-minute race. But Daniela Moroz, the 5-time world champion, she's going to be trying to do what Mazzella did in the last semi-final that we saw, and try and take a race win and bring things square with Nolot for a showdown in the next fight. Of course, the 2 other qualifiers will also be doing their best to see what they can achieve. And Mirko, we've seen, for example, in Torre Grande with the girls' final, Nina Arcic, she's showed us what can happen on the final day if you suddenly find a really good team of world-class form.
Yes, again, today as well is not going to be the difference. For sure, we're going to have Lauriane and Daniela just having two different tactics. Lauriane, she have to beat everyone and close the deal. Finito. Regina of Gizzeria, like you said, the queen of Gizzeria. For sure, Daniela, she will not give her any particular, make any life easier for her. And then we don't have to forget that Poema and Ellie Holdridge, in this kind of condition, it might turn up on a bullet on the first final. So let's see. And as you said in Torre Grande, someone which is an outsider that no one knows exactly the performance, and then she start getting a pace where no one expected, and then take it off all the tactics on the other and make a lot of confusion, and then at the end she was winning. So again, all the four girls are on board, start to
and we see
getting closer and closer.
That's
to the
Nolo in the
starting line.
yellow. Nolo in the yellow and Daniela Moroz with the blue bib, and Daniela Moroz also with the GoPro camera on her helmet is an extra way of identifying which one is Daniela Moroz. But second from the right is Lauriane Nolo. I like being on the
Daniela.
left.
Daniela.
That's Daniela on the far left. And I like Daniela's position. I want to be the most left-hand of these boards. I think that's a really strong position to start in. We've seen that from the previous races. We've got 4 seconds to go. 4, 3, 2, 1. And a little bit far off the line for Daniela Moroz. Daniela Moroz on the furthest left. She could have been further forward, but still in a pretty strong position. And it's a clear start. All of the riders, all 4 of them, using the 21 square meter Fly Surfer kite.
So we have Ellie Holdridge from the top, all the way windward, then Lauriane Nolo, the second right, and then Poema Newland, and all the way to the left, Daniela Moroz.
And I think that's a very good start by Lauriane Nolo. I think Aldridge and Nolo started pretty well on the left-hand side of the start. I feel like Daniela Moroz was too conservative. She's on the far left is the American rider. And then the one that's struggling to stay in touch is Poema Newland, just a click back behind Moroz on the left and Nolo further to the right. Nolo, I would say right now, is in the strongest position. Moroz going into attack and Nolo going into a simultaneous attack. The other two follow suit. But this is looking good for Nolo right now. And Moroz struggling at the back. So things haven't worked out too well for Moroz, and things are looking better and better for Lauriane Nolo.
Yeah, now she's leading, for sure, looking into the mark. And then we can see Daniela Moroz all the way leeward to the other, going for maximum speed, or there is some shift on the wind.
Is Moroz going to be able to? No, Moroz is going to have to do a double tack. This is disastrous for Moroz. She's way back in fourth now, so a real misjudgment.
I think she missed the mark and she tacked on the ley line, looking on
For the spacer mark.
I don't know.
Or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's strange. That's really strange. I'm not sure what happened to Moroz there, but Lauriane Nolo is sailing away unchallenged right now. She's around the windward mark. She's doing almost 28 knots of speed, followed by Poema Newland and Ellie Aldridge. And Moroz goes into an early jibe. Well, she might as well do something different, but it's a bad jibe by Moroz, struggling to get that kite filled, and Moroz having to pump her legs like crazy to keep the board from collapsing into the water. So it's just going from bad to worse for the 5-time world champion, while Nolo is just stretching further and further away. And once Nolo gets into the lead, she tends to, certainly in the stronger wind, tends to be about a knot faster upwind than her competition. So if she can get round this leeward mark safely, she's probably going to have an advantage going back up the next leg. Things are not looking good for the other 3 riders right now. It looks like Lauriane Nolo is going to only need to do one race on her final day in Gizzeria.
Okay, Lorian, she's just getting already on starboard.
And
But it's
Newland in
not-
second.
Yeah, Newland in second and not far away.
Okay, so can Newland close the gap even further? Nolo going around now, but as you said, Moko, not a lot of distance now. Oh, bit of a splashy rounding there by Poema Newland, followed by Ellie Aldridge. And Daniela Moroz still in the hunt, still actually managed to close the gap and get back possibly in contention.
Yeah,
But-
I must say, after double tacking, complete making a mistake on judging the lay line before the windward mark, and then having Daniela Moros again on third, not so far away from Lorian, is quite a challenge. She did a quite good downwind leg.
It was a very late approach by all four riders to the start, I thought, and no one really nailed the start. But Moroz, she had great positioning for the start, side to side, but in terms of where she was on the start, she was just too far off. Lorian Nolo going high and slow, that's unusual. Very good angle Nolo is sailing, but not actually the fastest on the racetrack. But that doesn't matter because look at the distance. Nolo able to tack round. This could well be her last tack in Gizzeria in 2022. If Lorian Nolo can keep the wheels on the wagon for the final run and the final reach to the finish, then she will indeed become Regina Gizzeria, the queen of this KiteFoil World Series in the south of Italy.
Let's see. We don't have to say too many things before crossing the finish line. If it's gonna get wrong, something that we are guilty.
You're right. But I think she's
Okay.
got the ability to do this as Nolo bears away, doesn't go into a jibe straight away, but now Nolo, the French rider in the lead, is jibing, and in close succession, going around now,
Daniela Moros,
Moroz and Aldridge.
Eddie Aldridge.
So Moroz has got back into contention, showing great speed, but is it going to be enough? Because time is running out. Now, we know that Nolo, we can see Nolo is well in the lead on the water with a lead of probably about 100 meters in front of Moroz and Aldridge. And very tight between Moroz and Aldridge right now. But those two need to work together. They don't want to be trying to take each other out. They want to work together to try and close this gap on Nolo. Nolo, only one more jibe remaining between her and the finish line. Lorian Nolo about to go round the leeward mark, possibly for the final time today. And now it's the fast reach across to the slalom mark.
One jibe away.
Moroz and Aldridge just rounding now, so about 5 or 6 seconds behind. Final jibe being executed by the yellow bib wearer, Lorian Nolo. This is the first, and it looks like it's going to be the only race in the women's final here in Gizzeria. Lorian Nolo wearing the yellow bib. Has she allowed a grin to break out on her face yet? I suspect not. She's not going to take anything for granted until she crosses this finish line. And that is just 5 seconds away as the French rider who was so dominant yesterday, Lorian Nolo, becomes the queen of Gizzeria. Long live Regina Gizzeria. She is now the champion here of the KiteFoil World Series in Italy.
So she won at the end. Great job for Lorian Nolo. Amazing. Looking back on day one and then all the way was great. Deserve it. And Daniela Moros straight behind.
So Daniela Moroz takes the silver medal. Ellie Aldridge, the bronze, and Poema Newland, unfortunately, misses out on the podium on this occasion. But 4 really class riders in that final. In the end, Lauriane Nolot has just proved unstoppable in the second half of Gizzeria, where she has won race after race after race. And most importantly, she's won that race just now in the final. And we've only got 2 minutes till the next start. That's Connor Bainbridge, her boyfriend. We saw Connor competing in the semi-finals earlier, and just congratulating his girlfriend, Lauriane Nolot, who has just taken gold. What an amazing moment for Nolot, who just a few days ago was saying, I'm not sure if I come back to Gizzeria. I don't like these long races. So I wonder if she's changed her mind about that. Do you think she'll be back next year, Mirko?
Yeah, that is a question that we will make.
We'll ask, yeah, we'll get it from the horse's mouth later on. We'll see what Lauriane thinks about Gizzeria. We've got 1 minute 10 to the start of the men's final.
Okay, 1 minute to go.
DR5, built to win.
So there were no protests for the women's race. So what you saw will stand, and Lauriane Nolot takes gold. We've got 33 seconds. Earlier, we saw the semi-finals won by Lorenzo Boschetti and Riccardo Pianozzi. So the two young Italians now go into this final against the ones that already qualified. That's Denis Taradin from Cyprus and Tony Vodisek from Slovenia.
15 seconds to go. Amazing is going to be the first final of the men. Let's see if it's going to be enclosed in one race only, or the challenge will stay open.
So the four are away. They're off and away. And we see it's a clear start. And the fly surfer is very popular today. All of them using the fly surfer, with Riccardo Pianozzi furthest towards the shore in a very good position, but good starts by Denis Taradin and Tony Vodisek as well. So
yes.
all
we have
four.
to remember that Denis is the one that he will try to close to get a bullet on the first final.
That's what the rest can't afford to happen. Denis Taradin has 2 championship points already. So the rider from Cyprus, that's the one that the others need to stop from winning. So it's Tony Vodisek at the bottom of your screen. Then it's Denis Taradin. Then it's Pianozzi.
Boschetti is just in front of Pianozzi.
Oh, Boschetti, then Pianozzi. So Pianozzi at the back. So it's the 2 Italians at the back, but it's Tony Vodisek that looks like he's in position to give bad air to Denis Taradin. Vodisek in control here. Denis Taradin in a close fight with Lorenzo Boschetti and Riccardo Pianozzi playing catch-up at the back. Tony Vodisek pushing hard on the board, using those leg muscles to try and get maximum drive out of the board, and from that fly surfer kite as they're approaching the windward mark for the first time. And Denis Taradin has dropped down below Tony Vodisek's line. So Denis Taradin struggling in the air of Tony Vodisek. Vodisek gets round in first, Taradin round in second, but diving down the inside is Lorenzo Boschetti going into an early jibe. So Boschetti gets to choose when he jibes, and Pianozzi going round in fourth.
Try to make a different tactics, Pianozzi. I mean, it's the fourth, so you have to try to take some different line and clear in.
And that's what Pianozzi is doing, lowest in our picture. And it looks like on the far side, Boschetti has got good speed closest to the shore, but it's still Tony Vodisek in the lead. Boschetti could be starting to get on level terms with Denis Taradin. So Vodisek on 1 championship point. As things stand, if Vodisek manages to win this race, he would draw level with Denis Taradin. That would take them both to 2 championship points. Vodisek through the jibe. being pulled along by the 23 square meter fly surfer kite. Vodisek about to round in the lead.
Yes, straight
followed by Boschetti.
Boschetti and Denis Taradin.
Slightly better rounding by Taradin, maybe, but Taradin's going to go for an early tack. That will give him clear air. Just pumping the board a little bit out of the tack. Well executed tack by Denis Taradin, with Tony Vodisek putting a loose cover on his arch rival. That's Vodisek on the left, but still leading, and that's Taradin putting the hammer down on the right-hand side. So everyone going out to the right-hand side, back towards the shore. Riccardo Pianozzi at the bottom of our screen, still struggling to get back into contention in this race.
Yeah, and he's the only one that get a lot of bad air from the kite. For the rider in front of him is gonna be attacked pretty soon.
So Vodisek still maintaining control, and look at those simultaneous tacks, all four tacking at the same time. Pianozzi some way back, bottom left of your screen, but if anything, the other two have drawn closer to Vodisek. Vodisek still in controlling position, Boschetti in second, and Taradin in third.
In this position, the final will stay open. You know, Andy, I guess it's gonna be another one.
The way things stand at the moment, Taradin's got to overtake two of them. He's got to overtake Tony Vodisek in the lead and Lorenzo Boschetti in second. So who's going to be first to jibe? Looks like it's going to be our race leader, Tony Vodisek, going for an early jibe, and simultaneous jibes coming from the next two, from Boschetti and Taradin. So the leading three all sailing on port jibe back towards the shore, with Pianozzi some way on the back. Pianozzi is also jibed, but he's out of picture right now. Vodisek, it doesn't look like he's got a speed edge. It looks, if anything, Lorenzo Boschetti might be closing in a little bit. And he's got about a knot more, maybe 2 knots more boat speed, Boschetti, than Vodisek. But Vodisek sailing a bit deeper.
It's all about gaining 1 or 2 meters more. Have a look, Denis is jibing a little bit earlier.
Yes. And will that have been the right move? Vodisek pumping the board. That suggests he's maybe jibed a little bit early for the ley line and struggling to get down there. And Taradin coming in with a lot more pace. Taradin coming in underneath Vodisek. And can Taradin now put the pressure on Vodisek, who jibed a little bit too early? At least now Vodisek is on the reach. But Taradin, if he can get the inside line, he could yet win this race back, and that would be putting the whole thing put to bed. Has Taradin done the impossible and overtaken Vodisek on the final stages? It's
wow, what amazing move for Denis Taradin. That is experience.
But who's going to be across the line? I'm not sure we're going to be able to call this from this position here, Mirko. This is extremely tight between the two leading contenders, Taradin on the left and Vodisek on the right. But it looks like Taradin has done enough.
No, he's going to close the deal.
Taradin, the yellow bib wearer. Where did that come from?
Great last downwind legs for Denis, exactly jibing on the right spot from starboard to port, port to starboard. Did you see? Just enough, 10 meter, little bit higher, 10 meter higher, and then he had to pump, lose the speed, and then Tony lose the 20-30 meter leading.
Quite amazing, quite amazing. And if there was a way of winning a world championship and proving that you are the deserving winner, then that move that Denis Taradin just pulled is the way to do it. So Denis Taradin from Cyprus is the king of Gizzeria, as the rider who's just pulled off that amazing move comes ashore. It's less than 20 seconds from the finish line to coming back ashore. There's no decompression time. You go straight from competition straight into celebrating with your friends when you get back to the beach. And what an amazing way to win that final.
I go?
So,
Should I go?
Mirko, we're going to see if we can send Mirko out to get some interviews on the beach. And we need to also wait to see if there are going to be any protests. It's green flag, so that's already confirmed that there are no protests. So that stands. And so Dennis Taradin does indeed become the gold medalist here. We'll go to an ad and we will be back to you soon with some interviews on.
DR5, built to win.
Unfortunately, we can't hear what they're saying.
I see.
The two contender was an amazing. What an amazing comeback on the last leg.
Well, yeah, was close, and I'm definitely super happy to finish first after such a long time of not winning. Just being able to win again is the feeling is way better than finishing second, third, any other places, and it's been over a year, and I'm just internally super happy.
Yeah, we really. Small mistake.
It's for the Olympics. But there's no more friends. It's just racing, you know. So yeah, there are some things that can fly. And man, it was amazing.
Okay, so unfortunately, we seem to be having problems with the interviews on the beach. But I've got Jemima Craythorne in with me. So, Jimmy, that was an amazing finish, wasn't it? Just talk us through what you think Dennis Taradin managed to do there.
Yeah, that was some seriously awesome racing. I think those two guys have had some amazing battles at the top all week, and yeah, Dennis had quite an incredible comeback from, was he in third, I think? And yeah, it was all about ley lines today, I thought, and racing clean. And yeah, he just nailed that last ley line into the final mark. And yeah, unfortunately, Tony couldn't do enough. He was soaking down, and yeah, it was pretty tight race, but fantastic to watch. And yeah, those guys must be happy with a week of tough racing.
And those semi-finals were wrapped up so quickly, weren't they? And the finals, I mean, it's all gone by in a blur. Why do you think the people that were already in the lead had showed to be able to prove their advantage so easily today?
Yeah, I think so. All of the people who ended up in the finals, they all got bullets throughout the racing this week. I think it's actually been some of the closest racing we've had in the KiteFoil World Series, with loads of different contenders who actually had the opportunity, or rather the potential, to win overall. And yeah, that was some of the quickest semis that we've seen, actually, because it was all wrapped up quite quick. But yeah, great battles.
Well, Jimmy, thank you very much for that. Let's get Mirko back in, and we'll just wrap up what we've just experienced. And well, I'm still a little bit blown away by what we've just seen. It all happened so quickly. Okay, so what a dramatic finish to the race we saw just then. Dennis Taradin looking like he was going to have to sail another race, and Tony Vodisek doing. I mean, I thought, Mirko, that Tony Vodisek was looking quite comfortable in that race, and Dennis Taradin, I still can't quite work out how he managed to do what he did. I mean, there didn't look like there were many opportunities there, and he just pulled that out from nowhere.
I mean, it was not so far, and getting some word from them directly. Tony was on the lead. He just slowed down a little bit too much on the last jibe, and then it was a little bit too early. You know, when you slow down from 30 knots to 10, and the other one that comes all the way blasting at 30 knots, that it gained 50 meters straight in a few seconds, and that's the case. So, and then Tony had to pump a little bit his board to to avoid to do an extra jibe to take the mark, and then at some point, then it's just full speed. Maybe he just realized that he was stuck on the mark, and he overtake Tony, and at the end he just tried to be focused, and then he was super happy because after a back-to-back win from last year in Gizzeria for the first time, was his first win. So that's great. Really great.
So there are many highlights from Gizzeria this year. It's absolutely lived up to its promise of being delivering reliable wind. We've had no delays. I can see why we've been having high-level, world-class competition in kiteboarding here for more than 10 years. I'm absolutely a convert to the appeal and the attraction of Gizzeria. Hang Loose Beach does an amazing job for our sport. You must be very proud, and as Italian, that here we are in the south of Italy seeing the best of kite foiling. You saw two Italians in the final make it through into the final today, winning their semi-finals.
And a bronze for Lorenzo Boschetti is already quite good result. And Pianosi, the youngest star, at least, into the final. You said, look.
That is Pianosi, is it? Is that Pianosi doing
exactly
a little bit of showing off for us? And you talked about his formula, his former career in his early teens as one of the great freestylers. Well, look what he's able to do in the air as well as when his hydrofoil's in the water. So he's having a lot of fun out there. So even though he missed out on a medal today, Riccardo Pianosi, only 16 years old, there's a lot more to come from him, isn't there?
Yes, for sure. We will have to just wait. He's young, and as we have more younger and younger in our fleet, I guess it's going to be really a good future for him as well.
And that's us. I don't know if you can see us waving from the commentary area, but that's where we are.
That's the drone. We are here inside of the IK tent.
Yes. Let's just talk about, well, let's just remember it's Dennis Taradin is the new king of Gizzeria. Not the new one, actually. He won it last year as well. This is turning into his favourite venue for the rider from Cyprus, and a great performance by Tony Vodisek to take the silver medal. In the women, we are seeing a great rivalry develop between Daniela Moroz and Lauriane Nolot. We are seeing Nolot increasingly manage to get on equal terms, and now today beating Daniela Moroz, who for so many years, for 6 years, didn't lose a competition to anybody. But two very different riders, one American, one French. They've got different strengths and weaknesses, but in the end, we always see close competition with them now.
I mean, it's getting, we have to get used to it. Also in the next future event until the Olympics, I must say, because they are really strong rider, super focused at getting their performance more and more hires every single event. So let's see. Now is Lorenzo Boschetti with the Italian flag.
Well, you Italians, you sure do know how to celebrate. We also had the A's Youth Foil Championship taking place here, and Jan Stragiotti from Switzerland was the clear winner there. So we've got 3 champions coming out of today. We hope you've enjoyed today's racing. We wish we'd have seen some of the semis and the finals stretch out for a little bit longer, but we've seen some very emphatic performances today, especially by Dennis Taradin with that amazing move at the end of the race just 5 minutes ago. But from all of us in Gizzeria, that's it for this year. We can't wait to come back next year. Our next event is coming up in KiteFoil World Series. Is coming up in Gran Canaria in November.
Exactly.
But we've got European Championships in Nafpaktos in Greece. We've got a World Championships in Formula Kite in Cagliari from your hometown.
In Sardinia.
Can't wait in Sardinia. Can't forget the Cagliari's in Sardinia. And so we've got a lot more kite foiling racing to bring you this season. But from Mirko Babini, President of the International Kiteboarding Association, and myself, Andy Rice, that's all from Gizzeria 2022. Hope you've enjoyed it, and we will see you at the next one. See you then.